Were you able to watch any of the PGA Championship at all, or are you pretty
I,
busy?
I did not. I caught a little bit of it, maybe Friday night, but I didn't watch any of it live.
Okay.
I was really busy this last 4 days. So
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, I'd love to watch the PGA.
Yeah. And remind me again where did you grow up in the Columbia area, or where'd you kind of grow up for the
I
most
grew up in
part?
South Florida, in Fort Myers,
Okay. And then
Florida, and then I moved to Hilton Head. I was in Hilton Head, Palmetto Dunes for 5 years, and then we opened a club in Charleston, and then I went from there to Lexington, and then Chapin, right around
gotcha.
the Columbia area, and then I've been in Spartanburg about 8 years.
Okay, got it. I was curious what your ties were to South Carolina, so that makes sense now.
Right.
Very cool. All right, we're gonna give it a few more minutes. We have a few folks hopping on. It's like got about 20 or so on right now. We'll give it a few we'll get kicked off around 103. So if you need to grab a quick drink of water, feel free to do so before we get going.
And my daughter said she's watching on her on her end in Charleston. So
Awesome,
that's
awesome.
good.
Very cool. Yeah, I love Charleston area. It's not a
Yeah.
bad place to live for a little while.
My black lab's trying to get outside. I'm on my screened in porch. I'm off today. So
Okay, all good.
let me grab him. He's my buddy boy. So
Buddy,
he doesn't like me out here without him. So
I hear you.
Buster the lab.
I love it. Love it. Yeah. So, are you a big USC South Carolina fan, or were you
I went to Florida State. I'm in
in Florida
Seminole.
State? Okay, that's right.
Yeah. I used to teach PE golf at University of South Carolina.
Okay.
I've never been a fan of the Gamecocks or Clemson or anything.
Yep, I got you. All right, we will go ahead and get going. It's 103 on Friday afternoon Eastern time. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We have folks from all over the country hopping in today. So appreciate everybody on for taking some time out of your day to listen in to a special guest we have today. This Kevin Britt, who is been with Operation 36 since I believe 2016. Is that right, Kevin?
Yes, followed
Okay.
2016, right?
Fall of 2016. So I really appreciate Kevin taking some time out of his day as well. But we got some exciting things to share with you to go over. And I just want to share a couple quick notes about Kevin, as you can see on the screen there. He's been at this for quite a while, 30 years as a PGA member. He's, as of late, was 2023 CPGA Teacher of the Year and has been Best in State for Golf Digest 2019 to 2025. And most recently 2023 CPGA Mountains Chapter Education Chair. He sent me a list of over some other accolades, but I don't think we would have had enough room on the screen for him. So he's like I said, he's been at this for a while. He's got a bunch of knowledge, and hopefully he can share some of that with us today. But we're super grateful to have him on today to share some thoughts and some ideas he's had over the years. Also, do want to make note of some former students that he's had the pleasure to teach, and that's Dustin Johnson, William McGirt, and Lauren Stevenson. So I'm sure he's got a lot of really great stories from over the years, from several years of teaching and a lot of wisdom. So we're lucky today to get an hour of his time to share some of that. So that being said, we'll go ahead and kick off into just a couple questions. Actually, before I do that, let me just let everybody know, if you do have any questions for Kevin or for myself throughout the call today, there is a Q&A feature at the bottom where you can pop in your question, and we will do our best to answer it live. And if we can't, we'll answer it at the very end. So please keep that in mind. And this is also being recorded. So if you do have to hop off for a lesson or you've got to get going, we'll make sure to get you a recording, or you can reach out to us and we will send you a recording. Perfect. That being said, let's go ahead and dive into maybe just a quick question to start us off, Kevin, which is, if you don't mind, just sharing a little bit about what got you interested into Op 36. What kind of drew you into it?
Right. Well, I was I started at the Country Club of Spartanburg. I moved up from the Chapin area in Lexington back in February 2016. And right off the bat, we used the US Kids platform, and I was just looking for something a little bit more in detailed. And I felt like Operation 36 had so much to offer. I'm really good friends with Jason Sutton. He was up at Carmel, and he told me about Maggie, and they were running Operation 36 at Carmel. They were one of the first clubs. So the only other one at the time in South Carolina that was running the club, to my knowledge, was Mark LaPointe. So we were kind of like the second one in South Carolina to get on board. Obviously, over the years, there's been tons of changes, upgrades, and everything is really for the better. The Operation 36 team and platform, to me, just gave us something to help us kind of guide our way with building group programming. I mean, there's so many things that I still don't use because there's so much to offer through the platform. So
Awesome. No, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's a small world with you being in kind of the Charlotte, Spartanburg area. Jason and Maggie. Actually, Maggie was kind of a little bit of a role model for me growing up when I was going through high school. She was at Carmel and I was in the area, and remember seeing Op 36 there before. This is before I even went to college, or it was IGRO at the time, and then started to learn about it. So it's really cool to see that you started to pick up on it and are now run a very, very good program. And in fact, he's your master coach in Op 36, and we can talk a little bit more about how you got there in a second. But perfect. And another quick question is, do you think you could tell us a little bit about the programs you're currently offering at Carolina Country Club?
Yes. So I've been at Carolina Country Club about 3 years. It's kind of a medium-sized club as far as membership goes. Mostly seniors. Not a lot of families at Carolina, but it seems to be flipping over just a little bit. But we're running junior programming, 3 different junior programs. We have a 6 to 9 year old, a 10 to 12, and a 13 to 17-year-old class. And then we have a ladies Operation 36 program as well. Been doing for about 2 years. So I've been running the juniors for 3 years out there, and the ladies for about 2 years. And it's all been really good. I mean, we've been limiting our numbers a little bit. My last previous club, we had bunches and bunches. It looked like a zoo sometimes. We had 70 kids per semester at the Country Club of Spartanburg. Ran about 250 kids through the program in several years that I was there. Carolina's not quite the numbers that is, but I think our quality's been pretty good. So I'm kind of more about that right now, and then I'll be able to expand our class sizes to some degree, bringing my daughter on to work with me in June. She's a recent graduate from College of Charleston, so it's going to let me expand our classes, our ability to expand with the quality that I'm looking for, that we'll be able to have that we haven't had recently. So
okay. So that's unique. So you're in a position where you have the opportunity to start Operation 36 at 2 locations. So that's something that I know some folks on the call maybe are interested in, maybe adding another location or starting their first. If you can just kind of walk through what did that look like? Maybe you can think about first when you were at Country Club Spartanburg, and then secondly in Carolina, the process of marketing and getting it up and running. What did that process look like for you?
Right. Originally, we hosted typically every semester when we got started at the Country Club of Spartanburg. We hosted an informal but somewhat formal meeting prior, like an orientation meeting prior to the semester starting. I think that's a fantastic way. I've gotten away from that just a little bit. I've done that once at Carolina Country Club. And we have so much repeat business and I've been limiting, like I said, our sizes to some degree, that I haven't done that a lot because I'm not looking to grow it. But I think moving forward, like into the fall, we're going to be looking to grow that. So kind of get back into that growth mindset. But I think if you have people out and you explain to them what you're doing, and and you kind of share with them everything that's involved. I mean, from a price point standpoint, it's fantastic. The Operation 36 platform allows them so much opportunity to grow at all different levels because it can take any golfer and get them to start, whether they're an advanced player or an intermediate or a beginner player. And I think there's a spot for everybody in what we offer. So it's been really good across the board. And I think starting a platform like Operation 36 at any club is just going to be a huge benefit to the club.
Awesome. I like one of the things I really liked that you said there was you're able to provide an offering for just not beginners. I know Operation 36 is marketed heavily towards beginners because it's a great introductory into the game, but you're looking at it as also a way to collect intermediate and also potentially advanced, and how you phrase it and market it for sure. And you're going to have a conversation, but with that advanced student. But what is that conversation? What does that look like in the past? Have you ever received pushback about from intermediate, or whether they're adults or juniors or fathers saying, like, oh, you're starting me at 25 yards away, really? Like, so do you have any moments or times in the past where you've had that conversation, and how have you handled that?
Yeah, well, I'm so passionate about learning from the hole backwards that I think that when I explain to them, like, all good golf, like, we start from the hole and work backwards. And I've always thought that way, even prior to Operation 36. And when I got in, and originally it was still in the iGrow golf, but when I got involved with that, to me, that was a home run because it matched exactly what my beliefs were. So starting on the green, figuring out how to get the ball in the hole, working your way backwards. And I think one reason we have success is, we have the kids literally putt every class. And, putting is such a big part of the game. But if you can, like, develop those skills at an early age, like, most people when they start out, they have no speed control. They don't know how to read green. So we get into all that. We get into greens reading. We get into aim, how you aim your putter face, and then, try to hit it down your aim line and with the right speed. So we concentrate on those 4 fundamentals of putting, and we go over them literally every time we go, in a class. We're going over putting. So we work from the hole backwards. So I think when people get talking to me about it, I've had some people, I've had, like, a 14-year-old kid start in our high school age class. They're like, really? I got to start at 25 yards? I'm like, yeah, why don't you go see how low you can do? I said, matter of fact, we had Will McGirt out, at Country Club Spartanburg, and he played from 25 yards, and, and he took it as an opportunity to see how low he could shoot. So why don't you do the same thing? So, if you can get a tour player doing this, then why is a 14-year-old intermediate golfer thinking they don't need to do it? So, and if they go out and shoot 25 or 26, okay, then go do that from 50 yards as well. So, we work them all the way back. So, I think that it's just a fabulous way to learn how to play golf, and the people that really kind of get where I'm coming from, they understand it because, it just makes a lot of sense.
Yep. No, I think you're spot on with the narrative is everything. It's like, hey, if it's you get that better player, that maybe adult male who's saying, what, make me go back all the way to 25 yards. I've been playing golf for 20 years, or, the better player, little ego check, and it's, let's see how low you can go. The tour average is a 22, or let's see how close you can get to that. So I think that's a very smart way to do it. Also, I'm sure you probably try the yardages a little bit, or sometimes maybe that'll be a good thing to have parents do or assistants do, just to give a little heat check there as well, because that's a great way to get everybody on board and in line of what's it's not all that easy. It's going to take a couple reps and a couple cracks at it. So I think that's a great way to kind of go about that conversation.
Absolutely. I think for, going back to it, like a beginner, let's say I get a lady and she's 50 years old and she's never played golf before. It's fairly overwhelming to get back at the tee box. It may take 5 or 6 or 7 shots or 8 shots to get to the green. And then finally you're up there, and then you 3 or 4 putt, and it's kind of deflating. Where this gives you an opportunity to putt for an eagle or putt for birdie. And maybe it's just one hole where they have a great hole and they chip one in, or they chip it up there a couple feet and make a 2 on a hole, and they're just ecstatic, So it's a great way for everybody to play golf.
Have you found that by introducing this challenge or this game of Operation 36, they all have a goal of shooting 36, and once they hit their challenge point, have you found it where they kick into like this, for lack of better words, addiction? I got to go out and try to beat the yardage, and they're practicing and playing more. Have you noticed that at your facility, where they're like, I got to go practice, I got to beat this yardage? What has been the impact at your facility?
I see some do that. you can tell when people are a little more competitive than others, but
Yeah.
the competitiveness comes out in them when they shoot 37, maybe 2 or 3 times in a row, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
they're getting irritated with it. So you see them out there working a little harder, practicing a little bit more with the wedges and putting, and and then they finally get it. But yeah, definitely, I think it drives them. It's something to motivate people. It drives them to practice more and play more for sure.
Cool. And in regards to motivation, that's something that you've been over the years. You seems like you've done a really good job as a mentor and role model, and be able to motivate and educate young and young golfers and adult golfers, and creating a culture of learning and performance. Do you think you could share with everybody on the call a little bit about how you think this is, or can you share how you think about this and specific things that contributed to higher performing environment, like creating that environment where folks are competing against each other for a little bit?
Right. I think all of our group programs with Operation 36, we treat it as kind of a team training environment. So we say, hey, you guys are a team. We're going to come out here. We're going to compete against each other. First of all, we're going to practice together. We're going to be supportive. We're going to be encouraging. And then at the end of the class, we may have a competition. So, sometimes it gets to where they're kind of doing that. And then over a period of time, so I think every facility I've been back down to Weed Hill and Armo, where I really started teaching a bunch of junior golfers, we tried to create an environment where we encouraged the kids to come out and stay before and after their lessons and after their groups, because you start seeing them hang around, and next thing you know, they're having chipping contests and putting contests, and we just encourage that like crazy, because all the ones that have gotten really good, they never show up on time for a lesson and never leave when the lesson's over. They always come early. They always stay late. And now we're starting to see kids at our club. They go to class, and then as soon as class is over, man, they go to the first tee, and they're hitting, and they're going to play anywhere from 4 to 9 holes after class. And I'm starting to see more and more kids do that. We've got a couple that have kind of taken the lead, and I mean, it's amazing how much better in the last 6 months and a year that these kids have gotten, because they're out there just pushing each other. And when they compete against each other and push each other, I mean, that's like a magnifier on learning. So
100%. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of especially at country clubs, I would say, and I mean, and public facilities too, if of juniors in the area, you do tend to see like those, I like to call them like packs, like range rats, like the packs of kids that are just, they travel together, they go to the short game area together, they have some chipping contests, and they go get lunch inside together, and they go back out and play 9 holes. They come back in and hit the driving range. So creating those packs of students that just kind of grow together and challenge one another. It seems like that's something that you've started to develop almost organically just with your classes, and you all of a sudden you have kids go out and playing after class, and then they just keep going.
right.
Perfect. In regards to the team atmosphere or team aspect, you were saying in your programming or in your typical Op 36 class or program, how have you brought that into the class? How have you structured that to create that team feel?
Right. So there's lots of ways, but maybe through a set of drills, you can do that. But you can have I do it a couple different ways. So you might do it with 2 kids and their partners, and you play maybe like alternating shot putt match play against another 2 kids, and then you have a round robin. So at the end of the format, you have 2 versus 2, then 2 versus 2, then 2 versus 2. So let's say you have 12 kids out there, and they all play each other, and then you play off. So, but they have to rely on each other from a teamwork standpoint, because it's a true alternating shot. They have to literally alternate every putt. So, they start getting a little nervous because they don't want to let their buddies down. And then, you see the effort go way up. The other way is you can split the kids in half and have some type of competition where, we work off skill point chips at our club. And if we have some type of chipping contest or a home run derby contest or whatever, half the kids are on one team, half are on the other, and they're all cheering each other on. So we've got the green team and the blue team, let's say, and they're out there working. And at the end, I mean, they're excited to win stuff. So it's I think when they get out of that get into the team competition format, I think once again it's just a magnifier on learning. They don't get so mechanical. It's more skill based. It's more competition based. And like for us, we're developing kids to train for competition and skills versus maybe bogging them down with mechanics. I mean, we do some mechanical stuff as well, just like anybody, but we do a lot of competition, a lot of skills training.
Okay. With that in mind, what is like your typical structure look like for somebody that signs up for a program for juniors? And then you're also offering this for ladies as well, right?
Right. So I do a little bit different. Our juniors, just because I have a developmental mindset, I I feel like if I can get the kids out at least 2 hours a week with me and our classes and our team, that are we have a lot better chance to develop them. So all of our junior Operation 36 class, since I've been at Carolina, have been 10-week semesters, and we meet twice a week. So every class meets for 2 hours a week. So our 6 to 9 year olds and our 10 to 12-year-olds meet Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour, and then our 13 to 17-year-old class meets Wednesdays for 2 hours. And it gives us a little opportunity as well, especially with that group, to work on the course, maybe do like a pickup Operation 36 match. It gives us time with 2 hours that we have a lot of flexibility in what we can do. But also, I think they get used to practicing longer, because I think for the better players, you don't just come in and come out and practice, whether it's 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, or an hour. I think if you can kind of get used to practicing for a couple hours a day and getting kind of used to that, it kind of goes pretty quickly. So you get them used to training a little bit different that way, and it gives us the opportunity to coach them 2 hours a week. So, for me, if I can get one of the kids in the class to come out twice a week, that's 8 hours a month. And then if they do maybe 2 private lessons a month, now we're at 10 hours a month. And, you can do a lot of good with somebody if you're coaching 10 hours a month. So a little bit of team concept, a little bit of individual concept, and some training, and man, people can get a lot better. And then the women, we do 1 hour a week with the women, kind of more traditional for Operation 36. I do 8-week program with that. Both programs, the women and the juniors, we have a playing concept as well. We do play once a month with everybody. So the kids actually play 3 times over 10 weeks, and the women play twice over the 8-week program. So, but it's worked out well. It's a good fit for our club. At my previous stop, we also had 2 other classes. We had a 4 to 5-year-old class, and then we had an advanced class as well on top of the 13 to 17. And with the amount of kids we had over there, we had to do that, but it really allowed. We had a lot of really good golfers that just kept staying on our program because we had that advanced class that they kind of slipped into. And our 13 to 17-year-old class is a little bit like that now. It's kind of half advanced and half beginners to intermediate. So those advanced players are still there, but at my previous club, having the ability to have the advanced class only, they didn't feel like they were going to be around beginners. So it kind of helped them stay in class a little bit better.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. You really created this whole environment for juniors and adults, and it's really the focus of training, and training in groups and training together, and just really showing them that it's not just a 1 day a week thing. You can show up to it if you really want to get better at your skills. You got to show up, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week with me, and then during that time you can educate them on how to train. I'm sure you guys have done a really good job of using that time to teach them, because a lot of times juniors and parents don't really know what exactly they practice, and by having these 2-hour blocks you have built into the week, they're probably getting lots of good drills and ideas of what to do.
Right. Yeah, it's really worked out well. I think like I said, because there were quite a few kids that started in Operation 36 that are just currently in the Carolinas playing some really pretty good golf right now, that started back in our program at Spartanburg. And then now that Carolina, I'm starting to see some of these kids turn out really good, and then other kids that aren't as competitive. I mean, create a skill that's going to last them a lifetime, and and golf's such a great sport for all levels of players, depending on what they're trying to look out of it. I mean, we've always talked about the elite players and the advanced players, but I mean, if we can get just anybody playing golf that loves playing golf and enjoys the game for whatever reason they're playing. I mean, that's such a good thing as well.
Yep. No, 100%. One of the things that I'm curious, I just thought about this. One of the things with Operation 36 that it allows for is students to find different challenge points, right? Everybody's going to on their different paths. Some students are going to progress faster than others. When a student gets to their challenge point, what has been, I guess, some of the things or best practices that you've been able to share to help them, I guess, get past or overcome or work through that? Is there anything you can pinpoint, or it's an overall idea of what you've tried in the past, maybe that has worked or hasn't worked, that you can share?
Yeah, I think there's so many individualisms, with golfers that I think everybody's a little bit different. Like nobody to me should have the same swing. Everybody should be a little bit different on what they're doing. But so challenges like if somebody's stuck at some kind of yardage, well, maybe their strategy is not very good. Like I got one fellow right now, he's having a hard time from 150, but he hits his driver like 180, and we have a lot of trouble around our greens. So it's kind of like he's in between. Maybe if it's into the wind, he can hit driver, but then he puts himself, if he misses the green, with a tough up and down. So, hey, maybe do you hit 7-iron and a wedge, or, so maybe you can go over it with him or take him out on the course. It's what I've done with him the last, maybe 2 out of the last 3 weeks is, okay, you're having a lot of trouble from this yardage, but like, let's go out and take a look and see what's going on. So if I let them play the first 4 holes, kind of the way they've been doing it, you might want to say, well, okay, maybe you want to suggest this or that, because like every shot you're hitting, you're bringing a bunker into play or bringing a water hazard into play, and you're having to hit this perfect shot. So let's play the easy shots in golf. So even if you have to hit a 9-iron and a pitching wedge or something like that to make the 150 work, punch it down there or whatever you need to do, but to give yourself a shot to where you've got a second shot into the green with a wedge in your hand. So I think it's just different depending on the golfers, but people can't get stuck. And I think, as a coach, try to be encouraging to people, because it is a tough game. I mean, it'll kick you, right in the teeth sometimes. It's a hard game. So, I think teenagers and kids are hard on themselves anyway. Some of them get really frustrated. Other kids can be mean. There's lots of things. So as a coach, I mean, the more encouraging we can be, having fun out there, having a good time, just kind of leading by example. I mean, some of the best things we can do as coaches. So,
Yep, 100%. That's very good advice, and that a lot of times I think, especially with kids, is expectations. It's that instant gratification they're used to now. So they think their expectations is, oh, I should beat this yardage in 2 attempts, 3 tries. They can beat a video game level in 2 tries, like 3 tries. Why can't I beat this yardage and shoot 36 in 3 tries? So, you're right. Golf can kind of kick you in the teeth, and it takes, you can wake up one day and play great, and wake up the next day and something could be a little bit off, and your mindset's now gone. So, expectation management, has that been, I guess, to elaborate on the last question, is there any other things that you've asked or shared with juniors to help with that expectations, whether it's a student or a parent?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, perception and expectation sometimes are way off. Like,
Yep.
somebody just thinks whatever, like, hey, my kid's got a pretty good swing, and they're a 10th grader. I'd like them to play at Clemson. I'm like, well, what are they ranked in the state right now? Well, it'd be 120th. And I'm like, well, it's not happening, So, but if you are willing to do this, and this, right? So have to get better. So I had a young person come out the other day, and they said they really wanted to get better. I mean, this person was somebody that's probably shooting around 100, and they really want to get better at golf. So they come out and took a 2-hour lesson, which was pretty intense for somebody that's a 100 shooter, and especially me, because we work pretty hard out there. And so I said, what's your plans for practice and moving forward to get a lot better? Because they said they really want to get a lot better, and they're like, well, I'll probably practice most every day in the summer for about 30 minutes. I'm like, all right, well, let's times that by 5 because or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 because we need to look at, about 5 to 6 hours a day practicing at least 5 or 6 days a week. And because if you really want to play college golf, if this person was a 8th, 9th, 10th grader, I mean, you have to be realistic that other people are out there working hard, and to shoot the numbers they shoot, there's a reason they're doing that. So it takes a lot. But if you love the game, it's not really work that much anyway. Like, you should love to be out there and love to be with your friends and love to be having a chipping contest with somebody. And if you just like kind of doing it by yourself, put your headphones in and listen to some great music and work on your game, whether it's on the swing or on the course. But most of the great players I've taught have loved to play golf. They love getting on the course. They play their best golf when they play a lot of golf. And I think getting on the course is something it's kind of disappearing to some degree with all the indoor facilities and then with time allotment. So, you can be realistic with people and be like, you got to really play, and it takes a lot of time. I think you can help them get better if you explain to them, but you got to be real with people. I mean, I probably lost some students because, I might have somebody that's not very good and they want to play college golf, and you're like, hey, you got to work really hard, and you got to do something different than what you've been doing, and they get offended. But,
Yep. No, that's a good point. I mean, I think parents would appreciate honesty, right? With as their children are getting in the game, but it's been hard to pinpoint like a pathway or model that's consistent across the board. Like you said, every student's going to be very different based on their drive, their motivation levels, and what they want is going to be differently. Some students just want to make their middle school or high school golf team. Some students want to go to a top Division I college and play in college. But everybody's is different, and that conversation to the parent and the student about that is tough. But I think taking the route you did and say, hey, this is what it takes. I mean, it's right. You got to dig it and find it in the dirt. This is exactly what it's going to take, and I'm here to support you and guide you. But it's gonna versus sugarcoating it. That's really good on you to do that and say, like, hey, it's not an easy route by any means, but we're here. I'm here as a coach to help you through it, and I'm going to be your biggest supporter and cheerleader. But at the end of the day, it's going to become on you. But
absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. Kind of going over, moving down another question here. We had with ladies. So you did not. The ladies program is fairly new to Carolina, right? It just fairly launched not too long ago, a year or two ago. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. 2 years ago, we've had the ladies.
Okay.
So I think we've just finished up our 4th semester, maybe.
Okay. What did that process look like getting it off the ground? Is it just, did you have 1 or 2 ladies tap you on the shoulder that caught wind of the playing component, or what did that look like?
I just thought it was a need in our club. And so I went to the owner and talked to him about it. And we have a one individual owner at our club. It's not a privately owned board type club, but I went to him about it and talked to him. And the support at Carolina Country Club has been fantastic. Whether it's members or non-members, the ability to get on the driving range, get on the golf course, they have been fantastic. Both the head golf professional and then the owner, Tim Dunlap. The support's been great. So starting a women's program, and then if you're starting a junior program, you've got to have the support from your club. I mean, to convince somebody to let you do something like that is so beneficial for the club, both financially, the growth of the club, and like if they're trying to grow a membership, trying to get more business in, it's such a beneficial thing to have it at your club. But as far as the ladies go, I just thought it was a big need at our club to start training some of the ladies. We have a little pot of ladies playing. A couple of them that play regularly still haven't gotten involved. Maybe they think they're too good to get involved with what we're doing. I don't know, but I feel like everybody can benefit from it. And I think for the most part, it's been a great experience at our club with the ladies. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We did an off-season winter program for some of our Operation 36 ladies that was an indoor only training. It wasn't really a semester, but we ended up going 9 weeks indoors only, and we did all kinds of fun stuff. The ladies got so much better through the winter and kind of worked on a lot of functional movement type things. Didn't really play. The weather's just kind of shaky around these parts in the upstate of South Carolina in the wintertime. So it was kind of a fun thing. And then, but those were all Operation 36 ladies. So we had, I don't know, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I think it's so much fun to get to coach people. You get to meet so many people. It's such a benefit for your membership. And I just think it's such a win-win to get involved with coaching, anybody can at your club because of the member benefit and the relationship benefit that you have, with your club members.
Have you noticed that any more like husband and wives out in the court, like with the ladies that are in your program? Have you noticed that it's more active at the club, or have they just been mainly just look at it as a social time to get out, or have you noticed them really catching on and really wanting to get out and play more with their either spouse or friends, or they gone and maybe was there a lady that didn't feel confident in booking a tee time and now she's out there playing a lot? Do you have any of those situations that you have?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've had. I've definitely seen more women play with their husbands and play and get involved with our ladies group that plays on Thursdays. We have a ladies golf association, and the numbers have definitely gone up since I've been there. We have, I mean, really cool success stuff. One lady was a complete beginner. She was too embarrassed to go play golf because she just wasn't any good. But now she's done every Operation 36 class we've had. Now she's taking private instruction. She's going to play, and now she's beating her husband. And I'm loving every minute of it because, I think that, you go from, a complete beginner that is embarrassed to play golf because I don't want anybody to think badly of them, because it's hard. It's an uncomfortable situation to go out there and hit bad shots in front of people as a beginner. And then now she's out there playing a lot of golf and playing with her husband, playing with her friends, playing in the ladies group. And now she's talking about playing in tournaments. I mean, it's pretty cool, man. So it's been really good. It's been such a great thing for our club.
That's great. No, that's awesome to hear. I know it was probably a jump for you. I know you've done a lot of junior, junior base, but it's probably pretty cool and refreshing to kind of get in doing some adult classes after teaching some of the 7, even 5, 6, 7 year olds for a little while, and kind of got to structure the classes and talk to an adult. But thanks for sharing that. We have had a couple of questions come in while you're talking, jumping back into juniors a little bit and kind of the development of juniors and parents as well. So one question comes in that's asking, how can juniors and their parents learn that developmental golf, which is with a mission statement, is necessary if juniors are to become committed to the sport of a lifetime? Too many options taking their interest in easy fixes.
Right. I think there's so many things that the kids can do nowadays, whether it's inside or outside. I think if you just do your best to enjoy every part of it, and just like I said before, lead by example to some degree, and to get the kids to see how much fun that other kids are having doing it, that it's kind of infectious. They'll want to do that as well. And as far as playing for a lifetime, I mean, that's kind of what we talk about so much. It's not just the competition and maybe a U.S. kids tournament or a SCGA tournament or whatever. It's bigger than that. It's a game of a lifetime. And I mean, and I think little kids should play bunches of stuff because it helps them become better athletes. Like when you have kids that are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, man, they need to run and jump and throw stuff and play baseball and softball and basketball, even if it's just with their friends. But if you want to be a really good athlete, you need to cross train like crazy as a young person and learn how to compete and learn how to be on a team. It's all good. And if you can fit golf in there somewhere, I think that's such a great way to get going. And then, as you get a little bit older, and if you're pretty good and you want to streamline golf a little bit more, that's okay. By the time you're in your early teens and mid-teens, to where you say, oh, we're getting pretty good at this and I'd want to do it full time, but the people that I think learn to compete as athletes and learn to train and they get more athletic from those young childhood moments of playing team sports, I think it's great.
That's really refreshing to hear, because I know, at least when I was getting into coaching, even with Op 36 a few years ago, I think it was 2015 or 16, we did semesters, spring and a fall. And it was always kind of tough at first. It took a while whenever a student would just leave after the spring and not, I won't see him until the next spring. It's like, oh, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. But he had baseball, he had football, he had all this other things going on in the summer stacked up. And it was just unbelievable the amount of maturity and growth that had gone on over a year's time because of those other sports, like you said. And so, but as a coach, I was like, golly, I lost a student. Like, oh my goodness, I'm not going to see. Sure enough, he's back the next year, or maybe 2 years or 3 years down the road. Maybe there was enough impact where they're going to want to come back. But I'm sure you've had a couple of situations like that before.
Yeah, for sure. It's, especially I always try to encourage it. So I mean, me personally, I don't think they should only play golf growing up. I think by the time you're about probably 14 or 15, though, if you're really high level, you need to just kind of streamline that because it's just so time consuming if you're going to play in tournaments. So if you're playing like football or basketball or baseball, it just takes away from a time standpoint. You just can't catch up. So, I mean, I've had some kids play high level Division I golf that played soccer and basketball and things like that through high school, but I think it does get you behind just from a time standpoint. So I like a lot of training early. I like to taper it off a little bit as they're kind of preteens, and then kind of streamline it a little bit more around 13 to 15 years old. So, but that's just kind of what I recommend, and it's been pretty successful. I mean, DJ grew up; he played all kinds of stuff growing up. He just didn't play golf as a kid. I think one of the secrets too for these kids, get used to playing with adults, because like, I mean, he was a prime example. His dad, a lot of people probably don't know, but Dustin's dad was a PGA member. He was a golf pro at Mid Carolina Country Club down in Prosperity, South Carolina. And Dustin played with all the old guys all the time, and he gambled with them, and that's how he learned how to play golf. Like, it's unbelievable if you can get out of your comfort zone. There's so many kids that are afraid to play with people, and they kind of are sheepish a little bit. Well, it's a hard game. You got to be used to being able to talk a little smack, and like get involved with some competition, and go play with the old guys, and be able to fit in and have communication, and as a young person, to be able to verbalize with adults, and to get out there and play golf with them, and feel and feel secure about that, because I think that in itself is a huge learning advantage for kids. So it's another thing we talk about, but I try to encourage that as well, to get them to play with the adults as much as possible, and people they don't really know. It's okay, as long as it's a safe environment in the situation. So.
No, 100%. That's great. I think that's one of the big things is when you're learning a game or learning something new, it can be a little bit, overwhelming, but the more you can kind of introduce yourself into a different situation or environment and with other students in a similar boat, or have a little bit more experience, the better. I think that's one of the nice things that with 9-hole events in Operation 36 that it allows you to do as a coach is you control the pairings, and you could kind of move students around with some of the better players for one 9-hole event, or maybe you group one of the better players with all the younger students who are newer, and they could be a role model. So I think that's a great idea to kind of, if you do have those better players, have them, encourage them to go play with adults or some of the better players at the club to kind of get a taste of, that environment.
Right, because I mean, I see some kids they only go out there with their mom or dad, like,
Yeah.
and that's the only person they play with. So when they go play in a tournament, they're playing with other people, and they get out of their comfort zone so bad.
Yeah.
And so the peer aspect of competition and peer pressure, and the way you compete against your friends, I mean, it's important to get on that, and then once again play with people that are better, or people that are older, or whatever. So.
That's another good, yeah, that brings up a good point. As far as tournament, like local tournament play, is there a specific, do you have any kind of gauge? I know it's probably case by case, but do you have like a general gauge of when a student you feel like is ready to go play in a tournament? Like for a junior, do they get to a certain yardage in Op 36, or is it more of a social, or what is your gauge for when a student is ready? You feel like they're ready and can handle, a local, low level 9-hole tournament?
I think when it's really young, getting involved with U.S. kids tournaments, they get used to competing. And it's kind of low pressure, kind of low key. We have an entry level tour in the upstate of South Carolina called the GSA. They seem to do a pretty good job with. You don't have to have a resume to get in it, so anybody can get in it. Some of the higher level South Carolina junior golf events, I mean, you either have to qualify or you have to have a resume to get in some of these events, CGA events. You know, some tournaments are first come, first serve, but I think when the kids I mean, they're going to be wanting to compete. Like, I think sometimes it's a shame when I see a kid that's really, really high level, talent wise, and the parents won't take them to play in a tournament, whether they can't afford it or they put too much time into themselves or to something else. So the parents have a huge role in junior golf, as far as, you know, being able to give the resources the kids need, encouraging, taking them to the tournaments. I mean, bottom line, it costs a lot of money. I mean, when I was taking my daughter to, you know, a golf tournament, it's $1,000. I mean, you pay the entry fee, you got 2 or 3 nights in a motel, you got gas, you got food, you know, and then you're buying a yardage book and all this other stuff. And I mean, so there is some expense with it. I mean, if you're trying to get it a little bit more lower level, try to find some local stuff where, you know, you don't need a hotel room and you can just commute to daily. But, you know, I think everybody's different. And then, but some kids are just more competitive. So I think those kids, you know, they kind of push for it more than others. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I think competition kind of breeds upon itself. Like, people that are competitive want to compete. People that aren't so competitive don't really want to compete. So, and unfortunately, some people are like that. It's just, they're just not competitive. And so competition kind of freaks them out.
Have you noticed in the past, like in some of the juniors you've taught either at Spartanburg or at Carolina that's gone through Op 36, that this competitiveness came about through Op 36? Like, you did these 9-hole events and they play these yardages and they realize that they're progressing they got to maybe 100 yards and like, oh wow, like I didn't, you know, they look in the lens of like looking at everybody else and saying, oh, I might be moving a little bit faster. And have they been like, oh, maybe I should try to do this and play in a tournament? Has that happened? Or can you think of any situations where something like that, where it started to breed those players that recognize that they are, you know, separating themselves from a beginner intermediate standpoint?
Yes, absolutely. I saw it with quite a few kids. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, some of them stand out. Poppy Dawson, she's been in Operation 36 the entire time. I've pretty much been teaching it for the last 8 years. She started with us when she was about 5 years old over at Country Club of Spartanburg. She still comes to my Operation 36 classes today. She just finished third up in the U.S. Kids Tournament, the Carolinas Nationals. Carolinas up in Pinehurst this past week, and she's still in our classes. We had some other kids as well, Harley Jennings, who I don't work with anymore, but she's a wonderful player. She started pretty much as a beginner in Operation 36 classes with myself and John Weiss over at the Country Club of Spartanburg, and she's taken her game to a really high level. Moses Suzuku, he's another one, complete beginner, and now he's playing all over all the time, competing at a pretty high level. He finished third this past week as well. We have the Marinick kids that were in our classes. Jonas Marinick and Kyrie both just won at Pinehurst this week. Kyrie's in our class. He's a 6-year-old. He's ridiculously good. He won down at Jekyll, and then he just won this week in Pinehurst. But these kids, I mean, they're starting in Operation 36, and, you know, you never know, but you can kind of tell, like, when people are competitive, like, it takes them to another level. Like, before I did Operation 36, when I have junior classes, we'd have competitions and things like that. And the kids that hated losing, those are the kids that do well in the tournaments. I mean, they want to compete. They want to win. They love competition. They love having a putting contest. They love just competing in general. So you can kind of see early, you know, if people are competitive. And I think it makes a big difference. I mean, everybody's not wired that way. Some kids, they freak out. But when it comes to competition, they rather not compete. They just want to be out there for fun, and that's perfectly fine. Well, there's a place for everybody. So, but you can tell, but we've had some great success stories with Operation 36. When we were at the Country Club of Spartanburg, we started Operation 36 over there. And when I had gotten there, the boys hadn't been to Spartanburg High, hadn't been to the state finals in 16 years. And I think my third year there, they got to the state finals and finished in the top 5. So, and all those kids came out of Operation 36. So at the time, so
Very cool. And
yeah, it's been really cool, man. It's been a lot of success. And the platform has just allowed us to grow the game, with success as well. So.
awesome. Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. We do have just a couple more questions and we'll wrap up. I don't want to take too much of everybody's time today, but really do appreciate Kevin being on and everybody else for their time. But a couple more questions, then we'll wrap up here at the top of the hour. But did have a question come through in regard to those better players when when they're managing their emotions. So the question is, do you include mindfulness or training, managing emotions during the round with your more skilled golfer who either wants to or already playing competitive junior golf? So any kind of, I guess, mindfulness or managing emotions training, what does that look like or anything like that?
Yes, talk about it all the time. I think in the last 10 years, I've probably spent more time studying psychology of performance and golf and other things as well in life, sports, to help these people train for competition. But yeah, we talk about it all the time. Whether it's I don't know. I think all the people that I've trained over the years, they've all had great attitudes on the golf course. They've all understood how hard the game is, to be patient, to work hard, to treat the game with respect, to treat your opponent with respect, and I just feel like we train for that a lot because through our drills and through our competitions that we have in classes, it helps those athletes train that way. And I think mentally it gets them tougher, but it's, once again, working with kids is a little bit different because you can coach them up. Adults already have so much information in their head and maybe they're wired a certain way, but I think everybody can improve mentally. I think that's obviously the difference. If you have 3 or 4 people that all hit the ball pretty well, usually the person that's mentally tougher or somebody that just hates to lose, that person's going to end up winning in the end over a period of time. So,
Yeah, 100%. With those juniors that are kind of middle age, middle of the pack, say 10 to 13-year-olds, how much time would you spend on like the mental side with them? Is it something that you incorporate in the class, or is there additional resources you might provide for them, or what does that look like?
Yeah, one of the books I try to get all the juniors to read is Learn to Win by Dr. Morris Pickens. Dr. Mo's, it's real simple information. He uses the 4 R's method. We talk about that in class. And when the kids can understand that, hey, this is the way you do it, they don't really, because even their parents will be yelling at them to focus and do all this stuff, but like they don't understand the 4th R is relax. So after you hit your shot, it's okay to talk about other stuff outside of golf, and we encourage that. So we kind of go over how you do that. But and the ones that are a little more serious, I say, hey man, go on Amazon, buy Learn to Win. So I probably need to have 100 copies of it at my office, but I've got a couple, and they just keep disappearing. But yeah, that, and I have a couple of my better players that were having a little bit of trouble with performance, and they're working with my brother-in-law Brian Wade. He's based out of Tallahassee, works for Tignum, and a big company. They do a lot of performance psychology, performance type things all over the world, and he's super smart. And he's working with some of my players, and it's definitely seemed to help. But we've got some other local folks as well. But for the most part, I mean, as a coach, you need to have some of that basic background because, there's an instructional part of coaching, there's the coaching part of coaching, the mental performance part of coaching, course management, whatever. There's lots of parts where we wear a lot of hats. You definitely need to have a little bit of that going on, and, studying how the brain works. There's so many college coaches or high school coaches that are detrimental to people's game. I see it all the time with different players at different places. The things that the coaches say to these kids is just incredibly crazy. It's negative, puts people down, it discourages them. Like, So as a coach or a parent, like the parents, please encourage your kids. Like, if you want them to play well, I promise you they're trying. If they go out there and they play bad, I mean, don't just blast them on the way home. Like, you can talk about it, but some of the times if they're really struggling, I mean, nobody's hurting worse than them already. So, try to be encouraging, try to understand that's a hard game, and also be realistic. Like if you're not getting the results that you're looking for from a performance standpoint, maybe you need to change your practice or work a little harder. And so as a coach, it's okay to say that as well. Like, your results are based on what you're doing. So, if you do this, this, and this, and this is what your results are. So you might want to change it or maybe increase your time or whatever the problem is. So we can definitely help in a lot of ways as a coach, but I think that experience, that I've had coaching for a long time allows me to feel pretty comfortable and confident with players as far as just giving them advice and encouraging and just loving on your students, man. Like, they need that. Sometimes they need a kick in the fanny and, sometimes they need a hug. So I think you got to figure out which one's the best at the time, if you're helping these people out. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Kevin. That's great advice. I mean, kids are going through everything. Kids are going through all kinds of things, as at school and at home and everywhere. And so the best we can do as coaches is just be there and support them in the best way we can. I love what you said is they're not trying to mess up. They're doing their absolute best. They're not trying. So as in the car ride home, parents it's much support and love they can, and just be there to be their biggest fan. But awesome. One more. What was the name of the book one more time for some listeners that didn't miss it that you recommend?
Learn to Win, Dr. Morris Pickens.
Learn to Win. You also said Greg Curtis mentioned a book, Confident Athlete by Tammy Matheny. I think that's Confident Athlete as a recommendation too, if anybody else is interested. Perfect. Awesome. Well, we got about 3 minutes left. I just kind of want to wrap up with maybe one final little question for you, Kevin, and then we'll be on our way. For any new coach or coaches that's looking to create a thriving program or enhance their current program, but they aren't feeling the strong support of management, what would you tell them or recommend to them?
I mean, I would set up a meeting and, just show them, hey, economically, growth of the game, if we build it from the ground up with new players. I mean, I don't know how anybody with a brain can look at, from a developmental standpoint. I mean, I've been around clubs before where, you're at maybe over here teaching and you talk to somebody about going to another club and teaching and they don't want you there because they're like, well, you're going to take all the lessons. And I'm like, no, I'm going to come in and create a program and develop more lessons. So like, if you want the assistants to teach more, bring in somebody that can develop golfers, because it's going to lead to more. Like, there's a couple clubs in the upstate that don't have teaching professionals. These other kids and people that are serious about golf, they go other places to take lessons. So why would you not have a good instructor on your site? So I would just show them, number one, the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Like, if you have a good instructional program, it's going to bring in a lot of revenue and growth. If you're looking for growth for your club, some clubs aren't looking for growth; they're already full. But then you look at service. How do you service your member? Well, one way is to have great relationships, servicing your membership with the coaching aspect of the game through instruction, having a good instructional team on board. But the problem is, like I said, you go to other clubs and there's some pros that just don't want a teaching pro coming in because they're worried about you taking lessons, or their ego just won't allow you to walk in the door because they don't want another pro on the staff. Everybody gets a little bit funky in that regard. We get very territorial and things. And of course, I don't want somebody just showing up at our place teaching without, going through the proper channels. But if they were to come on board as a team under the umbrella and coach together and build something special, that's a different situation, which would be more than welcome. So I think that going to facility owners, you just got to show them there's so much information and research out there. I don't have any of that in front of me, so I can't give you numbers, but there's substantial growth at clubs that have good development programs. So, and I'm sure it's accessible on the website.
Yeah, and
the web.
Yep. No, thank you, Kevin. Thanks for sharing that. And we're also, for anybody that's looking for case studies or help with that, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help provide you with any information to help you if you're looking to enhance or develop your program further, or come on, and that's the one roadblock in your way of how can I convince manager. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you. You can reach out to our team, and we would be happy to point you in the right direction. Perfect. I'm going to share my screen back here. Let's see. Final thing I did want to just mention real quickly before we hop off today. Kevin, you were actually one of our first coaches to get certified in Operation 36. I think you took was it online certification?
I did. I did an online, did it over about 3 weeks, kind of after work, came home, worked on it in the evenings. It was fairly time consuming, but it was very informative, very detailed. And I thought the certification at the time I did it was really good. Do you want to talk to them about hosting? We're hosting one.
Yeah, absolutely. So this past year, 2024, we have resumed in-person orientation or in-person certification. So this is for current coaches and for coaches that are just want to become certified in Operation 36. They don't necessarily have to be running the program. If this is something that you would be interested in, it's a 2-day certification. It's a hands-on training where two or three coaches will be, or team members from Operation 36 will be delivering the 2-day training, where you will be diving into how to run Operation 36 using some of the tools, diving into the playing component, the curriculum, and developing, your starting point for a Op 36 program at your facility. To find out more, I would recommend going to our website. Just go to operation36.golf, click on Golf Pros, and then you'll see a tab for new Get Certified. And on this page, you can find everything you need to know. Excuse me. Everything you need to know and what to expect for the certification, as well as, what you can learn, and the agenda for each day is 2 days. And we will be having one in August 4th and 5th at Kevin's home course at Carolina Country Club, August 5th and 6th, right there. So if you are in the area and you're tuning in, just keep that in mind. You can pop on the website and register there. We do have a discount for coaches that are currently running Op 36. So if you wanting to sign up, please reach out to us, and we will make sure we give you the appropriate discount code. But we're having these ran all over the country throughout the year. So if you have any questions about the certification or want to register, just hop on the website and you'll be able to find everything you need there. All right. Well, I think we're at the top of the hour now. I really appreciate everybody hanging in, making it the whole hour. I wanted to say a big thank you to Kevin for taking his time out of his day. He's a busy coach and teacher there at the club, and teaching all weekend. So I appreciate you taking some time on Monday to be with us. Also want to thank everybody else for hopping on as well, taking some time out of your Monday to be with us with Op 36 and with Kevin to hear a little bit more about junior golf development and how to, help our players get better. That's what we're here to do. And if anybody wanted to contact Kevin, Kevin gave us the okay that you can do so by either emailing him with the email on the screen. You can also find him on Instagram, and his handle is at Kevin Britt PGA. So if you have questions at all about any of the things we talked today, or just want to pick Kevin's brain a little bit further, feel free to reach out to him. And as always, feel free to reach out to us at Operation 36. We'll be happy to answer any questions, or if you're interested in learning more about how to become a licensed location, we'll be happy to help you there as well. But that being said, Kevin, thank you very much for your time, and hope everybody has a great rest of their week.
Thanks again. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, bye.
See ya.